Hi, welcome to the Libertarian Alternative. My name is Mark Selzer, and I'm the Southern Vice Chair of the California Libertarian Party.
And I'm Dusty Taylor, and I'm co-host of the Libertarian Alternative today, and I am a Libertarian Party advocate.
Thanks for coming out to the show again.
Of course,
today.
I love it, Mark. Thanks. Thanks for having me on the show. We have a great show lined up. We're going to be talking about drug wars, and we make a very bold statement as libertarians that the drug war is just not working in the United States, and we need to stop the drug war. And what does that mean? What does that mean, Mark?
We don't advocate that anyone take drugs.
Right.
Definitely not.
Right.
That's not what we're saying. We're not saying that people should take drugs. We're not a pro-drug party. We are. I personally am very anti-drug. I encourage anyone that I know.
But that's for you. But
that's for me.
That's for you, and you have the choice of making that in your own home, and not interfering with anybody else's liberties or freedoms. And that's what we advocate as libertarians in the Libertarian Party: personal responsibility and personal freedom and liberty. And that means you make your own choice.
And here to present
another point of view.
Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yes.
Correct?
That's right. A Republican.
A Republican?
A Republican.
Thank you.
A staunch Republican.
Yes.
Okay, he's going to stand up on this table here pretty soon.
Thanks for coming out. It's great to have you. It's always wonderful to see you.
All right.
I met you on another show in Orange County called the June Kane Miller Show.
That's right. Yeah.
And you were there with Leo Tyrell, the Democrat civil rights lawyer, and you guys, well, he got in an argument with you.
Yes, he's always arguing.
Well, an attorney, you know.
Yeah. A lot of rage. And you have an issue with that rage, don't you?
Yes, I feel that we need to overcome it. There's a way of dealing with life without reacting to life. And most people who are angry have not discovered the proper way of dealing with issues. And I think Leo Tyrell is a good example of people who do not know how to deal with life. Bond, as you said earlier, is the Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny. And our purpose is to rebuild the family by rebuilding the man. And I believe that if men were to turn back to God, turn back to what is right, then we can change our country. It's not going to get better until men go back to being men. Most men are weak today. And one of the things that we show them is how to overcome anger and deal with the challenges of life in the right way.
Yeah, one of the, religion is one of the things that I've seen actually get people off of drugs. And I would actually encourage religious organizations to have private drug treatment centers.
Yes.
But right now, they really can't, because the only way to get the addicts to come in is to give the drugs to them, which they've done in Holland. Would you be opposed to something like that?
I would. I deal with a lot of people. My organization is 12 years old now, or we're in our 12th year, and I deal with a lot of people who are on drugs and who are alcoholics. And I think that it's a mistake and I heard you guys talking about legalizing or whatever. It's a mistake to legalize drugs because most people don't have a sense of self-control. They don't have a sense of being governed by self-laws. We all have a spiritual law. We have spiritual laws within us that is supposed to govern us, and most people don't have that. And so if we didn't have the law of the land, those people would be out of control.
However, don't you think that there could be, sir, a way of putting the cart before the horse? In other words, do we not have, as a society, the ability to self-govern? Because we've got this big government, and we all think to ourselves, well, we've got welfare, I don't care, I don't have to make it on my own, because I've always got this big government, mom and dad, that's always going to take care of me. Well, so why should I have to do any self-governing?
Well, it's a mistake, too. I believe in less government as possible. We do need some government in our lives, but not much, less as possible. And you're right. I mean, you look at the black community, for the most part, the black community is screwed up because they're dependent on the government and not themselves. And I don't mean to that extreme, but I mean that, Americans, sadly to say, we have a lawless people today. And not all. There's some good, noble American people, but for the most part, most Americans are lawless in the area of morality and what is right and thinking for themselves and doing the right thing. And until we return to that, we must have the laws of the land to govern those people, meaning that if you sell drugs, you should be punished for it. You know, if you use drug to a point that it affects someone else's life, then you should be punished for that. We must have those laws, otherwise it would be out of control.
Well,
don't you think, you know, I do have to disagree with you though
Yes.
on one issue that you just brought up, and that is that we're a lawless society. I think that what makes the news, what we read about in the newspaper, is not really all the goodness of the majority of the people in the United States that has the humanity and the ability to self-govern. What we actually hear about is the minority, and we have now made laws in this country that are pinpointed for that minority, but the rest of us have to give up our liberties and our freedoms to go by the law of the land. So my point of view is a little different in that I believe our society is lawful in a moral and self-integrity way, but we just don't hear about it. I think that the people that are lawless are the minority in our society.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but if we had been minority, we would not have ended up with Bill Clinton twice in the White House.
Well, well, you won't get any argument from me on that.
And Bill Clinton agrees with you, though, in your stance on drugs. And I'll go into a little bit about what you said in just response to it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't disagree that that religious organizations should be out there asking people to develop morals or reasons not to use drugs, because I think they're a destructive force in people's lives.
Absolutely.
However, I think that law enforcement is the wrong tool to do it, and I think that that's been borne out because no matter how much law enforcement that we've tried, we have 17, 18, and 19-year-old kids in jail now for 5, 10, 15, 20 years for marijuana, conspiracy to sell marijuana. These are the mandatory minimums passed the last time the Democrats were in control of the Senate and Congress. Now, these haven't really helped. In fact, that these kids can still get drugs even while they're in jail doing time for doing drugs, and a lot of them too are getting AIDS in jail and then dying of AIDS before they can even finish their sentences.
Just imagine what we would have, though, if we didn't have the law to govern those people. They would be totally out of control. I mean, we have the law to say, you know, if you commit the crime, you're going to do the time, right? And yet, it's out of control. Just imagine what the situation would be if we didn't have the law.
Yes, but Reverend Peterson, you advocate through your bond
Yes.
organization that men become men.
Right.
And I have to believe that that philosophy needs to be take responsibility for yourself
Absolutely.
and take responsibility for your family and take responsibility for your community. And that's all we're advocating as well
Of course.
as libertarians.
But until
we don't believe it would be almost as if you were advocating having the government come in and say, you must be a man, and you must take care of your family. And you, well, that's what we're saying too.
What I would advocate that the government should do is not, I mean, we have to prevent this from happening, of course, but not come into our lives and try to take over. You know, tell us how to think, tell us what to do and when to do it, how to do it.
Well, then we're on the same
side.
Yeah,
I agree
we're on the same
with that.
side with that. Yes.
But when I say law, I mean we need policemen to protect us when we have criminals trying to invade our lives with drugs and other violence. We need those type of laws. We need laws that says that, and I'm repeating myself, if you do the crime, because we have people who commit crimes.
Yes.
And a lot of these people who are committing crimes are doing it under the influence of drugs. And I have to tell you, when a person is under the influence of drugs, there's no way you can deal with them in a common sense type of fashion.
I agree.
So you have to bring them to some type of control until you can deal with them
We're
properly.
not saying that people who commit crimes under the influence of drugs should be
they should be prosecuted
let
to
go.
the letter
They should
of
be
the law.
prosecuted,
Right.
absolutely. You know, I have friends who they go out and, well, last time I got drunk, I got arrested, I got a drunk driving ticket, I broke with my girlfriend, you know, I shot my dog, you know, whatever they did to get out of control. And I say, well, you know, obviously you're not someone that can drink. Now,